Okay, y'all. So, our first letter, put a ring on it. That's what this one's called. I've been dating my BF for 8 years now. We met in college when we were 18. Our first few years together were rough, but we fixed a lot of issues in our relationship, like communication, and now our relationship is a lot better. When we graduated from college, he did not have a job yet, and I was in between jobs, so I didn't expect it to happen right away. Now it's been 4 years since we graduated. We both have jobs, and I'm like, where is the ring? He knows marriage is something I desire, and we've had a lot of conversations about the topic. Currently, we are living with his mother, and he said he would like for us to experience living alone and sharing finances first before we take that step. He mentioned that finances can cause a lot of issues in a relationship, and for that, I understand his concerns. But I also think we've worked so much on our relationship and our communication, and I believe after 8 years of dating, we will find a way to get over any hurdle. He reassured me that it will happen, but how long is too long to wait? Thank you for your advice.
Hmm.
Dun, 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 dun. Tired of waiting. She's tired of waiting. What do you think about this?
I think this is tricky because y'all met when you were younger, and
Yeah.
although it's been 8 years, y'all are still kind of young. And I know the girls do get married young.
Yeah.
20. It seems like y'all are maybe
Especially
about
them down
26,
south girls. Them Southern
26,
belles.
27.
I don't know where they're at, but
26, 27. So I could see how he's not like jumping at, you know, the urge or the to put a ring on it so soon, because he's probably still trying to figure some stuff out. Like, even though y'all it's been 4 years since you graduated, you guys are still kind of early on it, like, in your
yeah,
20s, where
yeah.
a lot of self-discovery is happening, deciding what you want, when you want it, how you going to get it. A lot of that is happening in this time period. And I know that we can look at like timelines and be like, well, we've been dating for 8 years, we're this old, I want to do this by this time. But I think in this situation, you're gonna have to really take a step back.
Yeah, and I think his logic is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because he is correct in his statement that a lot of marriages end because of financial reasons.
Yeah.
So, wanting to have financial stability is something that I would appreciate being secure before we jump that step.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yeah, you don't want to get married just to get married or just because, like, it's been 8 years. I get the urge and, like, okay, what are we doing? But it
Yeah.
sounds like you guys are doing something, you know?
Yeah, I think
As
that's
long as
true.
you're working towards the financial stability and like moving out and living together,
Yeah.
um I think that you guys have a step in the right direction. It's not like you're just sitting idle. There's no plans to leave the mother's home.
I would
There's no
say
conversation about
it
it.
probably would be helpful to figure out what you guys want to do in a certain time frame. Like, when do we want to move from here? Because once you get the ring, like, is the ring the point of which you're going to start deciding after 1 year, we're going to live with mom for another year, and then we'll move out, we'll get the wedding in place. Like, the ring is just one part.
Yeah.
And he's probably thinking, once the ring gets slid on, now we're going to be downhill. It's going to give uphill, but like the
Wait, what do
trajectory,
you mean? What's the
like,
ring?
once he gives her a ring, now you guys have to figure out how to move out, plan for a wedding, unless you're going to have a long engagement. But more finances are going to come into play because the money's going to be getting spent. You
Yeah.
see? So if I were in this situation and I was living with somebody's mom and them, that would probably be my first order of
That would be the first
business
step. I
for
would be
me.
like, okay, so let's figure out how to make this an active plan.
Yeah.
Because sometimes plans are just verbal when, like, okay, we going to do this and we
Yeah.
going to do that. And then we can, okay, let's work on the this and the that.
Yeah.
So we can get to the then.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
would be the first step for me. Unless you like doing the home, the
Familial living.
a corporate living is what I would
A
call
corporate.
it. Corporate living with his mom. But otherwise, I would probably be like, what is it going to take for us to move out and get our own place? Because although y'all are sharing finances, I don't know what it looks like for y'all to really like be out here doing it on your own, like paying your own rent, getting all the shit that it really takes to run a household.
Yeah.
So that would probably be first, unless you want to get engaged first and y'all are saving for that.
Mm-hmm.
But those plans would have to be happening in tandem.
Simultaneously.
The home or the apartment being secured, coupled with when is the ring gonna follow? For me.
What do you mean the ring, the home being secured couple with when is it?
The apartment moving out figuring out the
As
apartment
soon as y'all
situation.
move out, you need the
No,
room.
no, no. I'm saying those two plans will have to be happening in tandem, kind of close together. So I would be trying to strategize on how can we move out, when can we move out, and then putting a plan in place for the ring.
Right.
If that's going to immediately follow, or you guys are going to come up with something that feels comfortable for both of you guys, like let's live together for another year or 6 months and
Yeah.
reevaluate what it looks like. Um, I
It
kind of
has
have
to be constant conversations.
constant.
Yeah.
I have this situation like in my relationship, not this, but where you've been in your dynamic and you're trying to figure out how can we progress forward, because you have so many conversations, or I'll say myself, I'll make it personal. We have so many conversations that are happening all the time about what it's going to look like to get to the next step, and really trying to strategically plan, because as an adult, you are really not getting nowhere unless you put in a real plan in place.
Yeah.
And what are the steps we're going to take to get there? I'm tired of talking.
Yeah.
I'm tired of talking, baby. We got to put some motion behind it.
Yeah.
And like, we had been talking about saving for a house. And I'm like, okay, if we're going to really save, let's figure out the amount. Let's figure out how long it's going to take us. Just all of those things. And because we haven't really narrowed in and like honed in on an amount and what it's going to look like, my mind is on some other shit now.
Right.
You know, my mind is on, well, let's move from our current place to a bigger place. I would rather have more space if we're not going to move towards home ownership in the next like a year or two. That's what I want to do.
Right.
And we had that conversation because an apartment came available in my unit, in my building. And I'm like, I want to move to the transfer here. And he's like, well, I really want to save. And I'm, well, let's start. Let's start doing it.
We have
Whatever
to do
we're going to do, you know, because
Yeah.
I said, if we're not going to be actively progressing towards this plan, I'd rather be comfortable.
Yeah.
So you figure out and you let me know. But I've told you what I want to do.
Listen.
So that's where we are with it. I would just say be really clear about your goals with your partner, what timeline you think makes the most sense, what's viable for you. And when you will know when you are really fucking tired of waiting.
You will know.
When you're at your wit's end.
You will know. And yeah, I agree. The conversation should be explicit, because some people think, okay, well, we move together and then we stop in there. No, we're moving together with
For
a
a
goal.
reason, for a purpose.
Yeah, with a goal in mind. So if we're
Yes.
moving, this is a step to the engagement. We're not just moving together just to move together.
So the next letter we've titled Trying to Move On. Hey, big sisters, I would love some advice from you all. I'm a young college grad student who just got out of a year-long situationship. We were long distance but saw each other almost every blank since we're from the same city, so we don't know how frequently they've seen each other. I just need advice on how to shake him. I really love him and am struggling that we just decided the distance isn't going to work for us anymore. I was willing to make it keep working. I mean, we're already a year in, right? I want to stop reaching out, stalking on social media constantly, except we didn't end on bad terms, but I know this won't be the last time I will see him, since again, we're from the same city and have a lot of mutuals. It did hurt that he said he was open to dating others though, because he feels ready for a relationship. Just the distance for us won't work. I don't want to be delusional by thinking we one day might end up together still because of our connection, because we had a strong one for sure. But I don't want to keep hanging on to what we had and putting my life on hold because of him. I just need some advice on getting over a breakup.
Okay, I was gonna say that she need advice. What is she? No contact.
I love that method.
The no contact method, I think, is the best, because that just helps you get a clear mind and move on. You know, like stalking the social media is not good for you. Hanging on to the hope of what could be is not good for you. He's crystal clear that the distance doesn't work for him. So if nothing's going to change with that situation, then you just have to accept it for what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think that you have to make this work. I know that you were willing to keep making it work, but
yeah,
when somebody lets you know where they stand in a situation, baby, I take it exactly for what it is.
You have to take it for face
Yeah.
value.
And I don't know if it's because sometimes I feel cold in love. Sometimes I feel like I could be a little, I don't want to say callous, but I can be very black and white, you know, in a lot of circumstances. And relationships are typically not a difference for me. I'll be like, okay. So I know this, maybe my perspective might seem a little not warm sometimes, but I just think that a spade is a spade.
A spade is a spade. I think it's the connection part that has her like
I know.
resistant, and I feel you, girl.
I know.
I
I
feel you. I
know.
have felt that too, where it's like, oh, the connection. That's the part that makes us hold on to the what ifs and the hopes or the dreams. But I will say, if there's something circumstantial that you know is not going to change, it's just better to just release the delulu. You
Yeah,
know,
release it
release
for
the
sure.
delulu, unless it's like, okay, I've moved closer, so let's spin the
Yeah.
block and see,
Where the
if
solutions
we
come
can
in.
revisit, if the connection is still there. I'm not against that,
Yeah.
because like nothing wrong has happened.
Mm-hmm.
But in an instance where someone has been crystal clear about it not working for them, then you got to let it go. You got to
Yeah.
let it go, because at least he's being honest with you and communicating that it's not a fit.
Yeah, and I like that. Communicate very early on what doesn't work. If the long
She
distance
said
is,
it's been a year.
I know, a year of talking too. Is that she worded it as it's been a talking stage. I just called it a situationship,
Hmm.
which if y'all were really locked in, great. But after a year of talking, we got and being long distance, we got to figure out what's our plan.
And I think that's another thing where the plans are key, because if you are long distance and seriously talking, at some point the distance has to
Yeah, it's
close.
like,
It
are
has to
we
become a
gonna,
short distance. So it's like, okay, so who's moving
or not even who's moving? How frequently are we gonna see each other if it's long distance?
and who's moving? Eventually, we got to be together. You know what I'm saying?
I know. And I think that maybe if they were in a relationship, he doesn't want to be in a relationship
He
because the
does, though.
distance, he does, but not with her because the
No.
distance is creating an issue.
And I think that's the part that's like a knife
The
to the stomach,
wedge.
because he's saying
I'm
he's open to
ready.
dating. He's ready for a relationship. And that's the thing. He is ready for a relationship. He's just not ready for a long distance
Yeah.
relationship.
Have I ever been in a long distance
I
relationship? I was in one for a very brief moment, but then the person moved back to LA like early on in our stint. So I couldn't really feel the difference because I wasn't doing no commuting or
Who
no
the fuck
traveling.
was?
Right. I'm like, see, and I love when you read my mind like that. I tell Brittany all the time, try to read my mind. And you show me each time that you could do it.
No, I just thought about it.
That's reading my mind because I said,
The Avant.
read
your
my
mind,
mind,
babe.
baby. Exactly. Read my mind.
know which-
But yeah, it was very brief. It was short lived.
Was that always the plan when y'all had first started talking?
Yeah, he was always going to move back to
Okay.
LA. He was done with his grad program and he had already been working. He was in Atlanta for a few months, a few years actually. So it was time for him to come back and settle. He's from
Okay,
LA,
so
so
it's perfect timing. You see how
Yeah.
that works? The timing and the alignment matters.
yeah.
Because
it
if he had
does.
just started that program, your ass would have been like, I gotta go
Girl,
and
I
another
would've been on a
3,000
flight.
years.
I
It's
would've been on-
3,000 years.
I would have been on a
The
flight.
connection.
We would have been flying out, girl. I would have been
Yeah.
on somebody's buddy pass, standby, going to see my man. And I would have been expecting him to do the same. You need to be coming. It would have gave we need to see each other at least once a month.
I know, but sometimes like people just don't do good with long distance, even with those frequent visits. It's like, I need you. I need to be
Close.
able to pull up on you,
I know. And I think I need that too. But if we could decide how long it was going to be like a sacrifice, like, I'm in school for this amount of time, or I'm taking this job and after I work here for so many years or a year, I'm going to get my experience and come back, I could lock in and sacrifice with you. But indefinitely, nigga, no.
Yeah,
Communication is so key. It's
is.
paramount.
Ain't no
in
nothing.
figuring
Ain't no
out.
relationship without it.
Everything comes down to the communication. So, I mean, girlfriend, let it go.
Looks like another love TKO. No, just kidding.
It is.
But it is. I'm laughing because I feel you.
It
know?
is a TKO. But like Brittany said, the no contact method. Resolve the fact that you will see him out in public. I guess it's a good thing that you guys aren't on bad terms because it could just be, it's all love. When I see you, it's no tea.
And make sure you look good.
Period. Okay. I'm going to always have love for you. And if it makes sense at the right time, we'll see what could happen.
Yeah.
But,
And make yourself open to dating in a
Yeah.
relationship.
A
Just
man
like
that's in
he
your
is.
city.
Just like he is. You never know what you might stumble upon.
I always feel, I know the connection is really, it's important. It's important. And when we feel that connection, it's like, oh my God, it's so strong. Chemistry, you cannot
You can't create
deny.
it. You can't create
You
it.
can't create it and you can't deny it.
Yeah.
But I am also a firm believer in the fact that like you will have chemistry with somebody else and
You will.
a connection with somebody else that'll be valuable and make you feel really special. So think of this as an expander type of situation. It shows you what's possible, that, oh my God, I can't really have a deep connection with somebody and potentially be locked in with someone. Hold on to that feeling, because it'll show up again. Now you just know what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know what you're looking for in a partner as far as the chemistry goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, hold on.
Okay.
I don't know what song that was from.
I thought it was I'll keep
holding on. We giving y'all the oldies. The girls who listen to this pod might even not know that song. The early Gen Zers. But yeah.
Okay. This one we're calling Pick a Side, Best Friend or My Man.
Why do we all have to say my man?
My man.
Like that now.
My man, because it's
TikTok.
And my man.
Thank you to my man.
Okay, so hey homegirls, I just want to say thank you for consistently and effortlessly bringing good vibes on the BGB pod. That's a trait that I also have, and it's nice to listen to other women in their 30s who are the same. A lot of grown women be catty or okay, girl.
You're right. Thank you for the flowers.
Yes, thank you. Anywho, I would love to hear some feedback on a best friend breakup I went through last year with my childhood friend. She thought the night before our wedding would be a good time to bring up some issues her husband, the best man, had with my husband at his bachelor party, even though her husband told her not to bring it up because he was just venting to her. The pillow talk of sorts. Maybe because her husband knows he did some shady shit at the bachelor party and didn't want to open up that can of worms. I don't know. Also, her husband has 0 homeboys, and any guy that he gets close to is gay. Red flag. Was that a judgy statement? My bad.
These are her words.
These are her words.
These are her words.
I'm reading it verbatim. Anyways, yeah, I don't want nobody thinking I said there was a red flag. This was she said.
Right.
Anyways, she and everyone else was drunk and brought up her husband's concerns anyways. It led to a verbal fight. My husband got angry and loud, which is very rare, and ended up looking like the crazy one when she was the one who brought it up and was egging him to apologize on the night before the happiest days of our lives. The best. This is giving kind of best man scenario. Anyway. She is very emotionally impulsive and has had a verbal fight with my husband in the past. Fucking weird. The next day and morning of the wedding, he wasn't able to hang out with his boys because, again, he looked crazy the night before. Long story short, she put me in a position where I had to choose between her, pretty much my sister, and him. And of course I chose my husband. She once told me that she's doing what she's supposed to do by sticking up for me and is always dismissive when I tell her how I feel. She does this to her husband too. We're in our 30s. Why are you fighting with someone who's not your man? This is not high school. Side note, she's a Scorpio, and I know y'all are astrology girlies. When I listen to your girls' podcast, it really makes me miss our sisterly bond because it was truly unique. Anyways, I ended up having a phone call with her after to tell her how out of line she was and how angry she made me. Then I told her that I needed space. She ended the phone call saying, okay, well, I'll be here. And we haven't talked since. I'm sure I could have set a more solid boundary the night before the wedding, but at the same time, I've already had to do it when they first fought. I wasn't going to do it again. She is a grown woman. And that's where that ends. This is sticky. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to, like, your man and your homegirl, close homegirl, didn't get along well or mesh, or were you the homegirl who didn't get along with somebody's man?
No.
Me either. But I'm thinking the night before the wedding, if we had a conversation about I guess she had the conversation with her husband and he told her not to bring it up. It's just time and place.
Timing. Yeah. I probably wouldn't have picked
it
that
was
time.
really inconsiderate for her to pick that time to bring up funk.
Right, girl. It's my wedding.
We can talk about this after the case. You've now put a damper on the day.
Yeah.
You put a damper on the day and it was unnecessary. So I just feel like maybe you all did need the space. It does suck. And if they've been having multiple arguments,
But why can't the men just talk? This is not even an issue that happened between y'all.
Right.
It's the best man, and obviously he has some sort of close enough relationship to be your husband's best man. So if the best man is upset with your husband about something that happened at the bachelor party where neither one of y'all were there, remove yourselves. Girl, I would have said, girl, let's let the men handle it.
I would have said the same thing. It's
let's
not
let
our
the
business.
Men handle
Sometimes you have to be okay with things not being your business.
Yeah, man or not, husband or not. I would have been like, we both have husbands. Let's let them take care of it. It don't have nothing to do with our friendship. If he has a bone to pick with him, then let's let them do it.
Yeah.
But it's not for you, the friend, the best friend, to go bringing it up and coming at my man, because then now I have to go into defense mode.
Exactly. And what show is this where, like, I feel like this was like a Married at First Sight or one of them like dating shows where someone had to like mediate between her boo and her bestie. I would have a conversation, like, with both of them.
Yeah.
Y'all are going to have to figure out how to be cordial and get along, because I'm stuck in the middle of trying to mediate your conflict and I don't like it.
And honestly, removing of source. And I feel where she's saying, like, you put her in her place and she made her statement that she'll be here when you want to talk about it. It's foul. She owes y'all an apology.
She does.
The best friend owes you and your husband an apology for ruining y'all a big day, and she needs to take you guys to dinner. That's the only way to fix it now. Yeah. A dinner needs to be offered, a peace offering, an olive branch.
Something.
Like, let me go out and make it whole.
Yeah.
Let me make it right.
She would have to be the one. She would have to be the one reaching out to me as well.
Yeah, I need you to come over here and say something.
She would have to be the one reaching out to me, girl. I can't be the one reaching out to you.
And going forward, stay out of it. Let's stay out of these men's business.
Please.